I'm going to show you what I think is the best build early game in Armor Core 6, Fires Rubicon. So early game, you don't get a lot of options, and I'm talking early game as in the point to the game where you only played like this many missions. You just even before Operation Wall Climber, because you get some more parts there that I'm maybe not going to put in here. So the main thing here is that we can buy these bazookas, and these bazookas are actually super amazing. They do have one downside though, which is you stand still, even in the air. You'll stand still for a moment when using them, which in some cases is great because it lets you hover in the air longer because you float when you use them, and you can actually recharge if you have fast recharge. We'll get to in a second. So at least one of the arms, ideally the left arm, is going to have the bazooka, unless you're really, you know, obsessed with melee, which melee does do a lot of damage. If you're good enough to get in there, it's probably better, but it's much more safe and consistent to use the bazooka. And the bazooka does not use that much energy load or Ian load. And then the right arm, you can, depending on the map, you might just also want to run a bazooka. I just did Wall Climber S rank with just dual bazookas because it's actually insanely good if you actually are familiar with the map. Now, if you need a little bit of a different type of range, a bazooka's long range. You can snipe with a bazooka if they stand still. But if you need something longer range, then you may instead want to go for the Turner assault rifle, I prefer the MAJ 200 because it just does more damage per shot. It fires slower, but it has long range, and it's just like you only need a few shots. So I really prefer this one, the MJ 200 or the bazooka, depending on your needs, and then the bazooka for the other arm. And then other than that, you just get whatever the best missile launcher you can afford is. So I got this one here, which is kind of expensive, but it's not that big of a deal in this game. And then for the other side, you can get the pulse shield really early on, which is actually really nice for making it so you don't add up lots of damage from small peppered attacks where it's like enemies just have machine guns at you tons of times. This will basically make those do effectively 0 damage. And so that's a really nice thing to keep your HP up and get better scores. And then I never mess with the head. Don't even mess with the arms. Don't even mess with the legs. And then if you can get a better booster, then go ahead and get it. And then for these things, if you get a better one, just go ahead and put it on. And then for the generator, once you beat Operation Wall Climber, you can put on the VP20D. But until then, the AGJ098, or the JOSO, is actually... or sorry, not that one. Sorry, this one. The Ling Tai is actually really good. You can't use your dash as long, but it recharges really fast, which lets you... have more uptime. So the trade-off is if you need to cover a big distance to get from one cover to another, it will screw you. But if you are good about going from one cover to another safely, then you recharge so fast that you can like hover in the air kind of and do a lot of things. It's really versatile in that way. I have a lot of success with it. And that is about it. Obviously, as you upgrade more and more and as you go further, you'll want to look at more parts to buy. But this is like early game. You can just throw on those parts and then you can go in and you can get some serious value. I've already gotten, like I said, I got S rank with just those parts in Operation Wall Climber, and it really wasn't even that hard because there's so much cheese you can do with the bazookas and stuff. And just to show you some clips from that S rank run, you can get enemies like this one here stuck where you can fire missiles at them and then they'll dodge, and then you just fire both your bazookas at them, go land somewhere, recharge your battery, fly up, fire missiles, etc. All throughout this mission, it's like something can be a mile away, and if it's standing still, like an artillery emplacement or something like that, I can just fire my bazooka from like a mile away and just know that I'm going to kill it. And also on this one in particular, the boss and the Juggernaut on this one, I could just hit him with both the bazookas and stun him instantly, and then just land and recharge my battery or just float, and then fire 2 more bazookas, pretty soon after. And also, because of that, if you combine it with that battery pack, you can kind of just hover, and then when you fire the bazookas, that one battery pack charges so fast that you get a lot of your energy back while firing the bazookas and just floating there. And then you get to just tap and hover more, and then fire more bazookas. You can stay in the air for like 6 bazooka shots before having to come down if you do it right. So things like that are actually really useful. But again, if you don't want the dual bazookas, even just one bazooka is really good early game, and instead just have the machine gun. But the dual bazookas is really, really fun, to be honest with you, if you get used to it. But there might be there's certain missions where it might be better to have the machine gun or something like that. But the missiles generally take care of the small enemies when there's lots of them, so I don't know. I really like the dual bazookas. So hopefully that helps you out or makes things more fun for you guys if you were just looking for some really strong early game build It's simple, but it works, and this build is going to work for you for most of the early to mid game.